So women really have this great advantage of this empathy, this natural empathy, this natural compassion. If you want this right brain thinking, that's not to say that women are not intellectually orientated or anything like that. It's just that there is an inbuilt nurturing aspect,
yes,
biologically built in,
and also
has an advantage.
To leading dialogues, a space where we pause from the noise of everyday life to reflect on deeper truths that guide and enrich our journey. On this special occasion, we wish all our viewers a very happy International Women's Day, a day to celebrate the strength, wisdom, compassion that shape the families, societies, and spiritual culture.
Good. Thank you, Sharanya. Good.
Yes.
So maybe I kick off the conversation, because this is a conversation, and ask you for yourself, what does Women's Day mean to you?
Well, every person who's born in this world celebrates their birthday because it's a special day. Similarly, a special day has been dedicated for women, probably indicating that they need more of what is needed, in the sense they need more of course, we do have independence, freedom and all that nowadays, but still there is something which is lagging behind, probably to symbolically say that there's a celebration, and also as a note of gratitude for all that we have improved, evolved from where it was in the past.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I don't suppose it was so long ago that women were denied voting rights, I mean, in relation to the overall history of humanity. So I think it's fair to say that the classical women's role, I mean, we were discussing earlier as well, that in the 1950s, in America, for example, Europe and what have you, post-war society, the kind of generalized idea of a fulfilled woman was somebody who is house proud in the kitchen, using actually the latest tools and kitchen machinery, if you will, that was available. There was a lot of invest in washing machines and cookers and so on and so forth. And the expectation was the husband went to work and came back and like that, So obviously we've shifted from those ideas and ideals today. But I think the context is broader because internationally we still find oppression of the gender, women, in Africa, in what we call developing countries, And that, I suppose, needs to change. United Nations recognizes that and encourages bursaries, educational bursaries, particularly for women, over and above that for the males,
Swamiji, yesterday we went to a friend's place, and there we're talking about this International Women's Day celebrations. And all the men started saying, women always have the upper hand, they always celebrate, but men's, we don't even know if there is a Men's Day celebrations. So nowadays it's like, the other way around.
Oh, men would say every day is a men's celebrations if they have a chauvinist tendency. But you see the difficulty, yeah.
Yes, Swamiji. Yeah, of course, yes. I do understand that although things have changed progressively, the mindset and the mentality of the people, but the human brain is still primitive. So probably that needs a change and improvement.
Well, I think there are generalized traditional roles still in people's minds for men and women. And there is the fact of the matter is that women are much more vulnerable in the sense that in domestic violence, where you find drunkenness and a man comes back home, for example, after a drinking session, and that automatically can lead, in many cases, to violence. Now, it is a social problem. It may not be the norm, but when it comes to domestic violence, it's normally the women and the children who are the vulnerable elements. Same thing in developing countries also, and I'm thinking particularly in Africa, and I'm particularly thinking of an industry, the mining industry, where within a mine you find accommodation for families, working families, and on payday, the man takes his wages and spends them on drink. And then there's nothing left for household things, And this is in modern times, So that's an example where we have globally a long way to go in terms of social equality. Yeah.
So, Ajay, can I just ask you one question? From a spiritual perspective, what does it mean to be born as a woman? In the journey towards self-realization, what advantage might women naturally have?
Well, to start with, when we talk about spiritual, we have to understand it has no gender.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is it like to be born as a woman, say, and then in the same sentence, talk about spiritual, and so on. A spirituality as a process we can talk about, but we have to understand what we mean by spirit. So, from the ancient Vedanta point of view, and for viewers, we have to explain what is Vedanta, you see. So it is seen to be the ancient universal philosophy that highlights and addresses the fundamental unity of existence, which is by its nature absolute. And so in terms of how you express it to understand that, we can do it through spiritual practice. So every religion holds that, but even beyond and outside religion, we're all faced with the same kinds of problems. And we would expect there to be a generalized, united, standard answer to all those problems, a solution. And so I think Vedanta, which means really the essence or the fundamental penultimate truth, and that means it's either true or it's not true. It has to be universally true. Test of universal truth is exactly that it's applicable universally. And what it means then is we're not arguing whether your point of view is true or my point of view is true, or whether a religion is true, or whether a scientific humanism is true. Truth has the characteristic that it is universally understood, verified, repeatable, and that it is our experience. It's all based on experience. So I think we are all born with certain instrumental qualities which assist us on this journey, if you like to call it a journey. And so womanly qualities have a speciality. We cannot say equality equals men and women are the same characteristics. And even within that, it's complex because we all have individual characteristics developed from childhood. The nature-nurture aspect.
That's right.
And so our personality develops when we are 1 foot, everybody else is 6 foot.
And also based on the environment that they
based on the environment, and the parents bring the primary environment, or whoever plays parental role provides the initial personality forming environment. So there are those things. So that takes us away a little bit from generalizations. We understand, of course, that women are ideally, from our point of view, women are ideally mothers. This is not really accepted as a modern idea, but I think it's a valid idea because the motherly qualities that women have specifically is to their advantage. And we say there's no higher love really than a mother's love.
That's right, Swamiji, if I can interrupt you.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you see all the fathers also parenting the children equally, just not because ladies have started working, and also all the parents, all the dads have started taking care of the child in the night, be an infant or the babies. So they also must be exhibiting the motherhood qualities as well.
Yes, but there is no man who nurtures a child from birth. The first facial recognition is that of the mother,
That's right.
and the child naturally has a tendency to go toward the mother's breast and be fed.
Yeah.
With every mammal, that is the case. So there is a nurturing quality that nature builds in.
Is it because a child remains in the mother's womb? Does it start from there?
Absolutely. There's a natural relationship that takes place, but also there's a hormonal aspect to it, that women really are built in a certain way to be nurturing, caring people. Men have a lot to learn about that. So even though they might share parental responsibility, maybe even equally,
Yes.
there's something fundamental about the woman's natural affinity for mothering. And I don't think we can get away from it.
Yes. As you said, even the mammals and animals. And
Well, swans take equal parental responsibility. Penguins, male penguins are quite happy to sit on the egg to relieve the mother, as I understand it, So, so there is a general empathy of a partnership. The human understanding is partnership. The human understanding of human relationships in a family context, in a parental context, in a romantic context, would be that male and female are really two different components, two sides of the same coin, if you like. Now, if you look at a coin, it's not rocket science to understand that side one is not identical to side two. And yet they're complementary.
yes.
You have to have the one. You cannot have one without the other.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Swamiji. If you have noticed, there was a monkey called Punch. It's still in Japan. So the mother of that monkey had actually abandoned the child from birth. So it was so much longing for the love of the mother that they had given a soft toy, an IKEA soft cuddle toy, and it's been carrying it all over the zoo and all that.
Yeah.
So as you say, the quality of a mother is soon felt by the child.
Yes, I mean, if, for example, kittens, if there are in a litter of kittens, I don't know if the litter is the right word, but there it is. Sometimes you think litters all over the place, but the one kitten that is excluded because of competition, because of its individual personality, and it doesn't get to the mother's teat in the same way. It's not just the nourishment, it's the warmth of the mother. It's and so cats require it. That's why they one of the reasons why they like stroking and so on and so forth.
Yes, yes.
Their memory, if you will, of the comfort of being with the mother, nurtured by the mother. We associate nourishment with the nourishment giver. That's the mother. Now you may say, well, what about in this day of bottle-fed babies? Well, I'm not a big fan of bottling. There was the old adage, it used to be a good slogan, breastfed is best fed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, straight.
Yeah.
Anything we get closer to the nature, it's more beneficial and healthier for the child as well.
Yeah. But so far we've talked because you brought about spirituality. So our view really is that we are born with a directional purpose. Now that can be contested, and modern materialism would contest that. There's that point of view. And I think there are modern values that want to displace the idea of a purposeful directional life that maybe spiritual or religious values would emphasize. And so our view would be that it is not a linear thing starting from A and going off to B for no reason, but there is a circular or a cyclical aspect to this. And so we don't think, that birth is the beginning and the death is the end. That's our view. Now, the view is logical when you think that nature behaves exactly in this cyclical way. When a seed develops into a tree, it's not the end of it, because the tree then gives another seed and the whole perpetuation goes on. The tree species continues. So it's very difficult, really, technically speaking, to identify where death is. Now, if you accept that our life is a kind of journey with a certain destiny, and you accept the unity of existence, we're really all on the same directional journey, even though it may be individually different. And we celebrate those differences because we are constitutionally different. And so we should be different. In that same way, women have their specific different qualities. Men have their specific different qualities. And it seems to me that one without the other is incomplete.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So
like a yin yang.
So the two, yes, yin yang. So the two are not only indelibly combined, but also they are necessarily complementary to the journey. And so most people don't take a monastic life or anything. Most people go into a relationship that has children and a family life and so on. And in that way, you can see there's a complexity there because the children are looking to the parents for their example, knowingly or unknowingly. They're aping, they're copying. And so they'll copy good traits, they'll copy bad traits also.
That's right.
What in transactional analysis and psychology is called, the parent script. Information being fed in, the child taking that. And if the child doesn't mature, then it won't be able to discriminate what is useful to take and what is not. So the complex social system is child, parents or those who are playing the parental role, the total environment of peers, the psychosocial evolution of going to school. All of these provide inputs and serve to develop somebody. And then, of course, there's the individual urge to say, I'm in charge now. Typically that happens, early 20s or in teens.
So you mean by in charge the doership that you're talking about?
Well, yes, it means, okay, I no longer have to depend on my parents. I no longer have to be forced to study. I can choose a career now. I can choose a direction. I have an independence of free choice, which in our scriptural text is described as, having the capacity to upgrade our thinking, to elevate ourselves or lower ourselves, and make ourselves responsible, not blame society, not blame this or that, but take responsibility for it, and therefore chart our own course, which has characteristics of individuality. And then within that context, of course, we have to use our natural skills and abilities, genetic or otherwise. And so women really have this great advantage of this empathy, this natural empathy, this natural compassion. If you want this right brain thinking, that's not to say that women are not intellectually orientated or anything like that. It's just that there is an inbuilt nurturing aspect, biologically built in,
and also
has an advantage.
Yes. And also, is it correct to say that women are emotionally inclined? So that emotion factors work well with spirituality? Is that?
Yes, but we get into trouble for saying it.
For saying what, sorry?
Well, because it can be interpreted, somebody will say, oh, you say all women are emotional. You see? So that I don't think any woman would like to be labeled in this way. But I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't put it like that. I would say that there is more of a tendency toward, in terms of spiritual things, spiritual life, a breadth of a willingness to be more broad-minded about certain things, would seem to be statistically in the realm of women. And that is probably why in organized religion, for example, women are really the great supporters, whereas in comparison, men might not be so much inclined, And that makes women, I think, and I hate to generalize, but it makes them more open to creative ideas, I think.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yes, absolutely, Swamiji. So, what do you think is the most powerful way a mother can transmit spirituality to her children?
Well, by being a mother, by being nurturing, by being understanding, because the tendency of a mother is to protect the child at all costs, whereas a man may hesitate.
Is that true, Swamiji, even in modern days?
I would say it's true. I would say it's true. And I don't think, you see, even though the traditional roles have in a way been broken to some extent,
Yeah.
I say some extent because a working mother who then has to go through pregnancy and has to take leave and so on and so forth, well, in the context of business life, for example, businesses may see that as a disadvantage. And so men would still tend to be the hunter-gatherers, if you will, and go to work, and the traditional idea of the breadwinner, that kind of thing, I assume. And so we're trying to get some kind of equality, but we can't avoid the flavors of the traditional roles somehow, just for practical purposes. So anyway, how does a child learn anything, spiritual or otherwise, behavioral, for example, traits and so on, is exactly from the parents. And the mother has the role, really, of being the one that a child can resort to in the same way as they had to resort to the mother for nurturing and protection.
Yes.
So we can say that the overall understanding of motherhood would involve qualities of protection, nurturing, understanding. I'm not saying all mothers are like this.
Yes.
You know, there's the human element as well.
But how to bring, because especially in a place like
you see that you see there's a kind of thing which says, you see, the demon of the 20th century would have been Hitler, or is portrayed as Hitler, and so people say, well, if I knew that Hitler was born, I would kill the baby, Hitler, you see. And my argument is that no, you'd wait until he was a teenager. No. You'd wait until he was a teenager, because that's the problematic area.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, it's human nature is human nature. We all get on each other's nerves, there's no doubt. But we have to be understanding, and we have to use the feminine, what I would describe as feminine qualities, in a disturbed world where there's evidently an increase of a blasé attitude toward mass killing. You might say it's historically always been there, and I would have to agree, but we know more about it now because of the media, the power of the media.
Yes, absolutely.
But that can lead to a kind of impersonal attitude toward the issues of suffering, displacement of people, such as, creating huge refugees. I don't know what the latest statistics are, but there are more refugees now than have ever been before in the human history. There's more slavery, as it's classified today now, than has ever been before in the past. And so we need to have the qualities of overall empathy, compassion. Empathy, I feel what the other person is feeling.
Yes,
that's much more than
put yourselves in other shoes.
Yeah. And to, more importantly now, when it comes to spirituality, is to understand that spirit has no divisions, has no gender. And so when we look to people or to things or to events in the light of spirituality, that is one spirit, then there's immediate equality. And so it's to cultivate that view. And so parents have got the responsibility really to bring children to that point of a unity of understanding. That really is classically spiritual life. That's what makes different approaches to what we might call spirituality as a common factor, that we are looking for a unity of existence. It's not just in spirituality or religion or what have you. It's in human nature to find the highest and deepest generalization of things. So that's why everybody is looking for a combination in science of a theory of everything that will combine we might say microscopic scale, if you will, of quantum physics with the macro scale, as it were, of general relativity. So that's a kind of holy grail which is being sought, and I'm not sure if you'd ever get there, but the point is to look for an underlying generalization which is there that will explain everything. And so the modern proponent of what we call the Vedanta system is Swami Vivekananda. Many viewers may not know of that, but you have the advantage of Google, who really highlighted this idea of seeking the generalization as really part of the Oriental way of thinking about things. When I know the fundamental element of chemistry, let's say hydrogen, if I know hydrogen, I know pretty much everything on the periodic table because it's a variation of that. And the classical example says, if I know gold, I'll know every ornament made from gold.
Yes.
There's no gold and a ring. I know everything. If I know clay, I know every object made from clay.
Correct.
So if I look to the unity of existence, I have solved every single human problem you could think of, including a perceived division between men and women.
Beautiful.